I was particularly inspired and in awe of the idea of chieftaincy in Africa. It was 1999 when a member of our church, whose name was Kwame, came up to me and said, "Pastor, this is my last Sunday worshiping with you. I've enjoyed the last 10 years. I'm grateful to God for what I've learned here." And I said to him, "Well, where are you going?" He said, "I'm going home." And when I asked him where home was, he said, "Ghana." When I told him that I would be praying for him, I accompanied that with this, this question: "What are you going home to do?" He was an insurance agent, rather successful, lived in a nice house. He and his wife had raised wonderful children. And he said, "Well, I'm going home to be a king." And quite frankly, I thought it was mythology. I couldn't figure out why a man who was living a very comfortable life in New Jersey would go back to Ghana to be a king when the last time I checked, we weren't hearing much about kings and queens in Africa. All of us used to say, "Well, we used to be kings and queens in Africa." It never occurred to me that we are kings and queens in Africa right now. And it was years before I visited with our member named Kwame, who became the Ochihini, which means king in Ghana. He was the king of the Ochiman region. The Asantehene is the king of the Ashanti region. And when I saw both his challenges and his opportunities, when I saw the respect people had for him, I was absolutely amazed. Of course, what I've learned since then is that throughout Africa, we have these marvelous models of royalty. Many of them are leveraging their royal positions that are traditional to bring about uplift for the economy and the social status of their people. And so I decided we had to tell not only our king's story, the Ochihini, who is Osajifo Ofori Atapanin, but also the stories of kings, chiefs, whatever you call them, people who the West might call tribal leaders, but these are the real leaders of African people from south to north and east to west. And so I'm hoping to not only educate the world about African royalty, but to inspire Africans. One third of African people are entering the middle class. We have a growing globalization of Africa. Technology and the like is connecting young Africans to the rest of the world. And I think now is the time for the world to understand Africa through the lens of royalty. The other day, I was watching an international news network, and they used the term "the royal family." And that kind of got under my skin. I mean, I've been to London. I admire and Buckingham Palace. When Princess Diana died, I watched her funeral, and I followed every detail of the investigation. I was an admirer of Princess Diana. I have no ill feelings towards British royalty. It's just that they are not the only royals on earth. There is royalty running throughout Africa, and I think the African story has been underrepresented. And so this African Royalty Today series is not only a tribute to African royalty, but also a tool that I think we can use around the world to not only empower and inspire Africans, but also to give the world a glimpse of Africa, its past, and its potential. So thank you. And I'm hoping you'll support our effort and that you will be a participant in this growing movement called African Royalty Today.